Basis College of Pharmacy as assistant professor and worked up to 2005. To his credit, he received various awards and scientist fellowship award 2000 in the year from Tamil Nadu State Council for Science and Technology. And T.V. Suryakumar Prize for the year of 2000 from the Indian Pharmacological Society for the best ever published in the field of diabetes. International Brain Research Organization Fellowship for the Nation National Division of 2001. Currently, he is having three ongoing research projects from the DSC and DBT, the total cost of rupees 133 lakhs. And the concluded three projects with worth of 35 lakhs. He is having 6 PhD students. In November 2011, he was transferred to the Professional Excellence Award by the Tamil Nadu Dr.M.Ramanathan University, Chennai, to recognize his service center in the development of pharmacy profession. He wrote the patent for the herbal formulation. Total research paper published in 53 in the last 5 years of research published on total laboratory in the various industries. So he is a very superhero and role model for the health research force. So introduction.
Point of it, point of it. இல்லைன்னா வேண்டாம் விடு விடு நீங்க மாட்டிக்கிறீங்களா? இல்லை நான் மாட்டிக்கிறேன்பா. அதெல்லாம் ஃபுல்லாக பாத்வேஸாக இருக்குது. பாத்வேஸ் காமிக்கணும்னா அது என்னென்ன பாத்வேஸ் காமிச்சா தானே. இல்லை 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 இல்லைன்னா எப்படி இல்லைன்னா கொண்டு வந்துடுவாங்க சார். அது ஸ்லைட் சேஞ்ச் யார் நீங்கள் பண்ணுறீங்களா? ஓகே. So good evening. So next 30 minutes I will discuss about this, how this therapeutic protocol been changed from over the years. So when we talk it about the initial inflammation or how this being transformed, and the pharmacology, suppose if you take how it has been changed a lot over the years. Okay. Next 30 minutes I will talk on these topics. Next slide. So first I will talk a little bit about inflammation, what we study about in the Cox-Lox pathways, and followed by what is this autoimmune disorders. And this autoimmune disorders, how it affects many diseases. We never take more account on this autoimmune disorders. Then how this inflammation is inducible and how it happens. And followed by I'll take one example of multiple sclerosis, which is people never discuss much in CNS. So this multiple sclerosis is one of the deadly disease where people have not found any treatment at up to early 90s. Then 93 only they started how it can be doable. Then how this currently the pharmacology being transferred into other areas than the new molecules or smaller molecules. Okay. The next slide. So if you take many times we think about this immune system. So immune system or immunology, that is taking much of into a shape. And many people will always, we study about this passive immunity, active immunity, and the antibodies which has been produced in the body, C cells or CD cells or T cells or B lymphocyte cells. So these we talk more about, but ultimately when you take about this immune system triggering, and whenever, let's if we take COVID-19 also, we talk about immune suppression. And the immune system, wherever it is suppressed, like diabetes conditions, people have been more prone to diabetes. Diabetic people are more prone to coronavirus. So whenever we have an immune system down, even when you remember in pregnancy also, immune system will be down because it has to carry the baby. So then otherwise the tissue will get rejected from the system. And cancer, diabetes, arthritis, aging is again, these are all autoimmune disorders where again, if you take aging process, people are now talking more about anti-aging agents where they'll try to control the aging process by means of vitamins and minerals and antioxidant supplements. They talk more about how we can control the cellular function. And then the neurodegenerative disorders like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and multiple sclerosis. But generally, I talk more about this cognitive functions. But for this topic, I felt opt as multiple sclerosis. And even Parkinson's or Alzheimer's, it's again an inflammatory mechanisms mediated one. But we never discussed anything about this inflammatory markers or inflammatory substances until they found out maybe early 2000. Many reports have come, people are those who are taking NSAIDs like indomethacin, ibuprofen. They have never, had a incidence of Alzheimer's. It is very less. So at the time I was in Germany, so we had a big discussion on this topic, how it can be linked in, how it can be, what is the common link between these two systems. So Alzheimer's, and then people started talking about this persignolene and base activities and inflammatory controls. So a lot of informations what we can have it on these disorders, which is basically triggered within our body system and started degenerating our body, and it becomes precipitous into a disease. And it is again another condition. If you take in Ayurvedic system, they talk more about metabolic functions, regulations, body system to be fit in. Plus, apart from this, they also talk more about this, how to boost up your immunity. Thereby, the disease occurrence might be less. Otherwise, what happens, the tissue will get degenerated slowly, precipitates into a disease process. Okay, next slide. So if you take this, how it happens. So why our brain cells or brain, whatever the disease I told about, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, it's my MS or my ALS, how it happens, the basic is about this neurotransmitters. So I'm not going in detail because you people have known it, but neurotransmitters or neural firing and neural modulators, these three are the major components, play an important role when I want to communicate informations across the system, or if I want to get my functions to be done. So these three will play an important role. And there will be always a balance between these three systems, which is required to modulate my confirmation. The best example, again, I can tell you about this Parkinson's, ACH and dopamine, DA, that imbalance takes place. And if you take Alzheimer's, more of serotonin levels, less of ACH, that's been reported. So there's postmortem samples of the people, those who have died because of these diseases. When you collect the samples and then do the analysis by histopathology or immunohistochemistry, they found out which type of system has been expressed more and which has been less. When if you take epilepsy, we talk more about excitatory amino acids like aspartate and glutamate when compared with the GABA. So these are the components where they have a interlinking between the receptors and the system, like glutaminergic or aspartate. Again, if you take GABAergic or serotonergic, so all these systems we have a link. And when I want to have my brain cells to be active, I want this LTP to happen. This is the long-term potentiation. So this LTP is one of the important component for my neural firing to be continued. So we like this, we also have LTP also, that is depressions also, LTT also, we have a depressions also happens. But when I have a potentiations, what happens, it helps me in my brain function better way. even if I want to have memory activities or logical thinking, where I need for this LTP to be function. And once it has happened, as usual, signal transactions and then protein synthesis takes place, where the new network has been happening, or the new system will be get registered, or the new cognitive functions can be get into a filing pattern. So all these things are very important or interconnected. Neurotransmitters or neural firing or neuromodulators or LTP to happen, then convert into a signal, and the signal convert into a protein molecules, and thereby get into a complete system generated. And anything goes wrong in any of these ways, either the conduction or by chemical release or the antioxidant properties, anything goes wrong, the what happens, then the brain functions or cellular functions get into a damage mode, and we have a repair systems also will takes place during that period. Okay, so this is very, very important. So this, if it happens properly, then I can work it out that my cells are okay. Next slide.